Hi Aries, welcome to your month ahead October 2018 Tarotscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I would be eternally grateful for it. For those of you that are continued subbies, thank you so much for all of your continued support. It truly means the world. And also, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading, book or order a personal video file or a written tarot reading, you can do so at my website, which is www.reydiantreality.com, and that's spelled ReydiantReality. So with that said, I would like to bless all of the decks that I'm about to use with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's see what your actions and your interactions for October 2018 have to say. What's likely to shape up and how is this going to move through your world? And what you have is the Strength card. This is good. So the Strength card represents Leo. It's about connecting to your heart, but it's also about discovering an inner depth of wisdom. And usually when I say, or rather what I mean when I say an inner strength of wisdom, this is about the depth of what your heart is about, what you're passionate about, what you're really attached to. And it looks like this month you're really trying to demonstrate who you are at a core level. You're really trying to show people, this is what I desire, this is what I want to bring into the world, this is what I want to be a part of, this is, you know, this is me. It's basically what you're saying. So Aries, you know, you guys are very much, you know, you are the pioneers of the zodiac, the forefront runners, you know, always at the front, doing kind of everything to, you know, and usually on your own terms. It's about the, you know, Aries is about the strength of your own willpower. It's about the strength of your own passion and tapping into that passion. And it looks like you're diverting, so your actions, you know, is ruled by fire. You got a Leo, the Strength card that represents Leo, which is all to do with, you know, which is a fire sign. So this is giving you that sort of complementary energy. And it says that this month your actions are coming from your heart space. This month your actions are what you want people to notice about you. And this is, you know, this is Aries in general. You know, you like to do things. You're not really one for sitting back and talking too much. But with the retrograde that happened this year, you know, a really long one in the sign of Aquarius as well, right back into the sign of Capricorn, you know, that's a lot of really intense energy for you guys. And like I said, you know, that gave Aries and Mars as well the chance to be strategic, the chance to be, you know, the general as opposed to the foot soldier. You know, it gave you a different understanding of yourself and a different understanding of how to utilize and therefore demonstrate your power. So this month it looks like, you know, you've got the Strength card, you've tamed your emotions, you've channeled your passion, you've understood what your desire is, and now you're acting from the heart, not just for yourself but for all others as well. This is a really great card. It says that this month as well you've got lots of vibrant dynamic energy, you're moving forward, you've got this understanding of where you want to be, and more importantly now you've got the emotional intelligence to get out there and make it happen. But you're really acting from the depths of who you are this month, you know, and you're really tapping into what your own desires are, and in a way, and in the best way, you know, because one of the things that's associated or attributed to Aries is you know, they're very self-centered. Sometimes being self-centered is a form of, it's not a form of, you know, abuse. It's actually a form of self-preservation. And this kind of feels to me that this month you get that back. This month you have this innate ability to understand, right, okay, I've got to do this for me in order to make my dreams and my, you know, my desires a reality. So your next card out is your money and your materials. So you've got the Six of Pentacles. This is really interesting to me because the Strength cards, you know, in your actions and interactions kind of says that this month you're very much about yourself. The Six of Pentacles is a card of charity, it's a card of debts being repaid, it's a card of movement of money. And it kind of says to me, especially with the Strength card there, you're going to be really open and really generous this month. And it's kind of like, because you have this newfound understanding of self, because you have this newfound understanding of what your heart's desires are, as opposed to just your passions and your, you know, your loins based desires, let's say. This is going to be very much about you asking yourself, which I find really interesting as well. So because you've got the Mobius veil there above her head, then you've got the Six of Pentacles. Like I said, sometimes this is about a karmic debt repaid. I kind of feel, Aries, that in getting more in touch with who you are, in really understanding what you're about, where you're going, where you're heading in your own life, it's like you're going to have these little nuggets of, you know, almost, excuse me, almost like flashbacks, and you're going to say, right, you know what, there are things that I've done in my life that I'm probably not proud of, or there are things that I probably could have done better, and I kind of see you going back over them, like literally going back over them, whether it's getting in touch with somebody and, you know, giving them that apology, whether it is going somewhere and, you know, addressing an imbalance there. I kind of feel like you're going back, and not because there's any external circumstances that suggest this, but because you've done all of this internal work and you're coming from your truest heart space, I feel like you're going to want to take a step backwards. It's like you're going back to say, right, okay, I need to right what I perceive my past wrongs are. And that's a really powerful space to be in, because it kind of says, you know what, I'm aware of who I am, I'm aware of what I haven't done perfectly, and I'm actually gonna make sure that I solidify my path forward by understanding and righting and rectifying anything that I perceive to have been a, not necessarily a wrong, but something that I could have done better, or somebody that I could have been better towards. You know, it's kind of like, I feel like you're giving other people their dues this month. I also feel that some of you, a lot of you actually, may well get in touch with charitable organisations and, you know, see if you can do any volunteering work. In terms of your personal money though, I can tell you that things are going to regulate this month. You will finally get the moment where things kind of just, you know, where things kind of get a bit better in terms of the financial aspect. Money looks like an interesting one for you this week. Money and materials this month, even. Money and materials is certainly an interesting arena for you this month. And I kind of feel, yeah, that it's going to be about righting wrongs, and I, you know, what I kind of feel from that is it may well be some part of your intuition understanding that to truly go forward and be financially or materially, you know, materially abundant, you're going to need to deal with certain energy patterns that you, you know, that may still be lingering around, and by addressing them and really, you know, saying your heartfelt sorries and writing, or, you know, it might even be the other way round. You know, it might be that somebody comes to you and says, look, you know what, I did you, you know, a bit of a wrong one, or maybe I you know, I could have done this better for you in this situation. It could definitely work the other way round, but I kind of feel like this is you coming from your heart space this month. So your communications with the world at large, you get the Ten of Swords. There's an end coming to something. There really is an end coming to something. So when you get the Ten of Swords, you guys know me by now, I don't bullshit you, I just tell you what it is. The Ten of Swords is an end of a cycle, but it's usually quite a dramatic end. Now, look at this. I've already talked about, you know, wrongs being righted. If you come against something, or you come up with something that you feel needs to be righted in a certain way, the other person may not want to hear it. It might not be met with the, oh, thank you for that you might have been expecting. You need to find some way to be okay with that. Where you're coming from and where somebody else is at don't necessarily meet up this month, but the fact that you've put that energy out there, the fact that you've been open to to really addressing this, to really saying, look, you know what, I want to put a line under it and I want us to be able to move on. You know, being able to do that, being able to really acknowledge that energy in you will change some vibration in your life. It will alter something, and, you know, therefore it kind of filters out. Don't expect anything from anybody in terms of communications this month. You know, do what you have to do about addressing something. If it's heard, great. And accepted, awesome. If it's not and it's rejected, that's on them. They obviously haven't evolved to where they need to evolve in order to say, okay, you know what, it was what it was. you know, and we are here where we are now. Also, I don't feel like whatever project, for those of you that have got projects that are being worked on at the moment, this isn't the month for you to launch, I'm afraid. You've got a little while to go yet. And then finally, in your heart and your half sector. So your heart and your half sector it's about your, you know, closest relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, you know, people that you spend a lot of time with, family, all of that sort of stuff. And you get the moon card. So this is really interesting. I'm going to go out on, not even go out on a limb here, I'm just going to be honest. It looks like for some of you, a relationship you really have come to the end of. You know, whether this is a familial relationship and you think, you know what, I'm kind of done with that. Because the moon card is about the past. It's about things coming back to us, and it's about observing the past with the rose tinted glasses off. It's about understanding. You know, the moon's a beautiful card because it's got a lot of spirituality, it's got a lot of understanding, it's got a lot of depth, a lot of wisdom, but it does tend to make things murky. When you see the moon card, things tend to be a bit blurry. So in your relationships this month, you're really kind of taking stock of what they actually are, and you're seeing them for what they actually are. Through that realization, the chances are that some kind of energy, some kind of situation for a lot of you is going to come to a close, and it's going to come, I almost feel like it will come quite quickly. So it's like you'll spend a long time observing something, and then it will end, and it will end suddenly. That noise is really going right through me. Give me 2 seconds. Unfortunately, we've got works going on at the moment. It's a bit better. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it looks very much to me like you have some you know, you've got a decision to make this month, and you'll be making that decision, you know, based on what you feel, but also based on the communication. I kind of feel like as well, in some respect, you're going to catch someone out telling a lie this month. And you know, it may well be that brings about this ending, but there is definitely some part of you that's getting really real this month, about, you know, what your relationships are, about what your associations are, and more importantly, you yourself are doing a lot of personal change. You yourself are doing a lot of, it's just one of those days, isn't it? You yourself are doing a lot of personal evolution. And by doing that personal evolution, it's going to lead you to a lot of personal understanding. And by doing, you know, by finding that personal understanding, it will arrive at you will arrive this month, Aries, at a place where there are certain things and certain people that are just not going to be able to continue with you. It's like you've already taken the step up. So the Magician was the first card that landed out. And the Magician card is about, you know, it's about becoming a master, but it's also about manifesting your destiny. It's about bringing forward or understanding the power through the clarity of your mind. This card is ruled by Mercury. Aries rules the head, you know, the brain, the mind, all of that stuff. And that I find really interesting, because this card as well can be a card of true transparency. And when I say transparency, it's about the clarity of what it is that you want to put into the world, you know. And interesting then that the first week of October mirrors the Strength card then, because it's kind of like the, you know, it's almost saying, you know, through understanding who you truly are and having these deep sort of insights into that, and having this transparency of, you know what, I understand who I am now and what it's taken to get me to this point. When you have a look at the Strength card, it's kind of saying I'm acting from that. So your mind is in the right place. It leads you to that space. And over the first week of October, you're really understanding what it means to be truly yourself and to be truly authentic to yourself, which is no coincidence when you think about what's happened with the astrology. You know, your ruler Mars was in Aquarius, you know, the sign of individuality, you know, of being yourself, of knowing yourself, of being spontaneously yourself. And by doing so, you can then inhabit the opposite side of, you know, the opposite of Aquarius, which is Leo, the Strength card, which is all about, you know, living from the heart space, about joy, about creativity. What's the best way to tap into your own personal joy and creativity, to be who you truly are? So your, you know, Mars, your ruler, Aries, has been, you know, it went into Aquarius, it retrograded in Aquarius to have you reassess, reevaluate, to you know, rejig things as well. And it's brought you to this arrival that in October you are truly understanding who you are, and you're truly understanding what you desire to do in the world, what you desire to be about, what you want your legacy to be about in the world. Interesting to note as well, the Mobius veil appears on the Magician card and it appears on the Strength card. So this is very much about, you know, you've done a specific cycle and you're moving on. Moon card there as well with the Ten of Swords, that's an ending. The end and the completion of a specific cycle. The moon is a very cyclic body. So then in week 2 of October, you get the High Priestess. Look at that. So the moon pops up for you again. Very, very interesting. So it looks like things are being revealed to you. Interesting as well, because you've got the 1 and the 2. The 1 and the 2. That's kind of spooky. You know, it looks like in the second week of October, you will be getting the information that you're chasing. You will be getting the understanding that you're chasing. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your dreams. It looks like you'll be doing a lot of inner spiritual, psychic development, you know, all of that, excuse me, all of that kind of stuff in the second week of October. But it's also, especially underneath the 6 of Pentacles, the second week of October is very much going to be a week for you where you're really understanding what it is to balance things, what it is to bring two opposing forces together. You know, in a true Aries fashion, you know, it's weird because Aries and Capricorn both share this kind of energy of there is only plan A. And I kind of feel like you'll really be inhabiting that this week for the second week of October. It looks like there will be things that you learn though. It's kind of like pieces to a certain puzzle that you've wondered about, or, you know, or whatever. So the third week of October, you get the Strength card again. That's really interesting because it's popped up twice now. So this is the Mobius veil twice, you know, in its appearance, which is really effectively speaking to your heart space. It also tells me as well, in terms of your physical body, the third week of October, you might want to look after your back. You might want to think about, if you, for those of you that have problems sleeping, or anything to do with insomnia, or, you know, because the High Priestess, nighttime, 10 of Swords, you know, the back, but also nighttime. Strength card, you know, the physical self. This could be suffering because of a lack of sleep. Or it could be a physical injury that is causing lack of sleep. That's something that you might really want to think about getting addressed over the third week of October. It also tells me, in terms of your physical vitality, you know, it looks like you've got a high energy month, but it looks like the second 2 weeks of the month, that energy kind of takes a dip, and it's either because of a back problem or a lack of sleep, or it could be a mix of both, or one causing the other. But it's definitely something that you will need to address. And then finally, the fourth week of October, you have the Temperance card. This is about patience, understanding and balance. And it kind of says that the fourth week, you arrive at some kind of peace. You know, even underneath the Moon card, the thing about the Moon card is it's a card of stillness as well. You know, it gives you that moment to be still, to observe things as they are. But the only problem is the things being, you know, when you're observing things through the guise of the moon, it's not like in daylight where you can see everything and, you know, everything is clear and sharp edged. You know, moonlight, although it's bright when it's full, it's still a little bit murky. We can miss the details. The fourth week of October sees you really trying to rectify that. It sees you asking yourself, you know, bigger and deeper and further reaching questions and saying, right, okay, well, what has this cycle taught me? you know, as we're, you know, because this is October, so as we're nearing, you know, not close to it, but nearing the end of the year, we're in the last quarter of the year now. And, you know, this is to ask yourself, what have I learned? You know, what is the culminating experience? What is the meaning behind this? And how do I attribute and assimilate that, that meaning into my life now, you know, going forward? What does it mean for me? So your key for the month of October, you get the Hermit card. It looks like you'll be spending some time alone over this month. It's asking you to spend some time alone. It's asking you to be okay with that, to be comfortable with that experience of being alone. It's asking you to be comfortable with the experience of taking stock. It's like you're acting from who you are. You're balancing and settling all of your own personal debts, you know. You're reaching out to people to right wrongs. You're, you know, all debts, whether it's physical, monetary, or even karmic. You know, it looks like you're settling a lot of accounts this month, Aries, which is really interesting to me. You know, I think that's going to be the title for the video, settling your account. And it is literally that, you know, in many ways, shapes or form. And it looks like it's because it's got a really strong, powerful start to the month. And that gives you the energy to see it through, especially, you know, when things get a bit rocky in the last 2 weeks of October. You know, you're going to be really exacting and precise about finding out why things are going that way and what it is. What's the meaning? What is the meaning behind this? What can I learn from this? What can I take away from it? And as this year winds down, what can I look back on as the defining moments of this year? And more importantly, now that I've got new information, now that certain things have been revealed or divulged, what can I do with that information? How can I go forward? So it looks like a really powerful but very intense month for you this month, Aries. Would you have it any other way? Let's be honest. Before I go, let me wish you an abundance of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance itself. Have an amazing month and I'll see you very soon for the weekly videos. Take care.